Very interesting guest today. Businessman, social worker, philanthropist, multifaceted personality. Also the national spokesperson of the TRS party in Telangana. So I've got Mr. Khaleeq Rahman, and without much further ado, I'd like to start with you. Welcome to the show, Mr. Khaleeq Rahman.
Thank you.
So let me start with wanting to know. I really see you're a politician full time. Everyone wants to know more about that. What I want to know is the man behind the politics. Where you started, what your journey is as a child. Tell me about where you grew up, college, things like that. If there is a romance in the story, I'd like to know all that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Imran. And I think it is going to be a kind of an unconventional type of a talk with you. In fact, I have had so many interviews, formal interviews, but this is something I think, as you said, you are going to, get into the various aspects of my life. To begin with, let me tell you, I'm a very simple person. And I got into politics by default because my father was a full-time politician. Then my grandfather was also into politics. And then I was born in a socio-political family. And my upbringing has been in that socio-political atmosphere wherein day in and day out, be it on the dining table, or in the drawing room, or on the lawns, or the private parties. So we used to have, different kind of conversations, and with different kind of people actually, from all walks of life. So that has given me, the opportunity to understand the politics, the social life, and also the business. In fact, I was born in Hyderabad, though I come from a place called Kodangal, which was in Mahbubnagar district, which is now in Vikharabad district, because after Telangana came into existence, we have so many districts now. So now the constituency, the Kodangal, was shifted into Vikharabad now. My grandfather was a lawyer, and he was also the municipal chairman of Kodangal. Then he also participated in the freedom struggle those days, and worked with the likes of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Pandit Nehru. And then my father, in fact, was born in Kodangal. And Kodangal didn't have, the kind of the educational infrastructure at that point of time. I'm talking about, the late 30s and the early 40s. And after my dad finished his 7th standard, there was no further education available in Kodangal. So my grandfather, he brought him to Hyderabad and got him admitted into a school here in 8th standard, and left him in Hyderabad with his friend. That's my grandfather's friend. And that is how my father grew up. And he completed his 10th from Alia School, then 11th and 12th from the Saifabad Science College. Then he did his graduation from Osmania University, then MA post-graduation from Osmania University, LLB and DPA. And then after that, in fact, because my grandfather was very particular that my dad, had to go back to his village. And then he enrolled himself as an advocate after completing his LLB. Then he practiced there for some time, then got into active politics there. And it is in 1977 when Janata Party came into existence under the leadership of Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan. He joined Janata Party, that movement after emergency, because in 1976, the emergency was imposed in India by Indira Gandhi. And that is how the Janata Party was born. And then my father contested as an MLA on the Janata Party ticket. And after that, in fact, in 82, the Telugu Desam was born actually here. And he was quite close to Shri N.T. Ramarao Sahab at that point of time. And along with N.T. Ramarao Sahab, it was also Nadendra Bhaskar Rao, then N. Srinivaslu Reddy, who was then the revenue minister, and he was in the Congress. But he was the one who also played a major, role in the formation of the Telugu Desam Party. So this was the core group. And then that is how the Telugu Desam Party was born. And then my father wanted to contest the election at that point of time. But N.T. Ramarao Sahab told my father, no, because you will be with me campaigning. Then they hit the road for 9 months in that Ratham, Chaitanya Ratham it was called. And the TDP came into power with a bumper majority, if you remember, in 1983. And that is where a new era of politics started in Telangana. And during that time, I was still student. I was studying in Hyderabad. As I told you, I was born in Hyderabad. Then I was admitted into Methodist Boys High School. I finished my 10th from there. Then I went to Little Flower for my intermediate. Then to Nizam College, because, those days, every student's dream used to be in Nizam College actually. So that is how I also got into Nizam College. I did my BCom from Nizam College. Then after that, again I went to Usmania University for my MBA. And I didn't, sit quite after that actually, because everyone was thinking that I would join politics immediately right after my education. And my father was also, kind of particular. Then at that time, because N.T. Ramarao Sahab used to like me a lot, then and we used to meet him very regularly actually. I used to go with my dad to meet N.T. Ramarao Sahab at his Abbott's residence, and most of the time, especially on the weekends, we used to have breakfast with him. Then he told me, no, this boy is going to be one of the youngest leaders in the Telugu Desam Party. And that is when N.T. Ramarao Sahab was toying with the idea of starting a political school. And then he started a political school in Gandipet. Then he told me that you are going to join this school. And I joined the school, political school. But somehow, because I didn't want to make politics as my career and profession, because I thought that let me first stand on my own feet, let me become financially independent. So that is how I got into the business. And then we got the brands to Andhra Pradesh, like the Godrej. We brought them to, Andhra Pradesh. Then we got the Parle brand to Andhra Pradesh, the Pillsbury Atta, what people say, the Godrej Pillsbury. And then we also got into the packaged drinking water at that point of time. And the Godrej, in fact, I was looking for somebody to have a tie-up with and a collaboration with in Andhra Pradesh. Then they met several people, they interviewed several people. But when they met me, because we already had, the understanding with them and the business relationship, they said no, because you'll be our franchisee for the Godrej packaged drinking water. Then I still remember Mr. Adi Godrej, I met him for the first time. And he is an iconic personality actually. He's an icon. He asked me, okay, our people have decided to appoint you as the franchisee in Andhra Pradesh for our packaged drinking water. But what do you feel about it? Do you think that this particular brand will be successful in the market? And why is that you are still interested? Because since you are already, dealing with the other products of ours, but why you want to have the packaged drinking water also in your portfolio? Then I told him one thing. I told him that because Godrej is such trustworthy product of the people, when you first get into your apartment or a home, you take out the Godrej key, you open the Godrej lock, then you feel thirsty, you straight away walk into your kitchen, open the Godrej fridge, and when you pick up the water bottle, then it has to be the Godrej water bottle, the package. So that,
Close the entire.
yeah. So he liked that narrative very much actually. He said, yeah. And in fact, they used that in one of their ads also. I mean, you get my point, no?
Obviously. From beginning to end.
Beginning to the end, I mean, it connected. And it was, presented so beautifully in less than 15 seconds. Because, the ads can't be more than 15 seconds. Less than. And then that is how, I got into business. Then I also, got into pharma. And then I was also into the stock market. And then a bit of real estate, everything. I mean, I tried my hands on everything. And because I'm, such kind of person that whichever business used to come to me, I never used to say no. Or whichever opportunity. Because I always used to feel that we must always keep trying different things. And that is how I, tried various things in the business, and by God's grace, touch wood, I have been very successful in everything what I tried. It is all because you could say, number one, the hard work, number two, the dedication, number three, the honesty and the integrity is very important. Be it business, be it politics, be it your personal life, whatever it is. And on top of that, you have to have the belief in God. So these things actually, contribute a lot to the success of the business, or to be successful in business or in your personal life. So that is how I got into. And then Nizam College, in fact, we used to have a lot of fun in Nizam College. And I was not that studious, to tell you very honestly.
I was going to get into that. Where is the naughty part?
Yeah. So I was not that studious actually, but I was an okay kind of a student actually. Yeah. School I was a bit shy. Yeah. But it is, when I got into intermediate in Little Flower, that is where I started making some good friends and all. And in the school also we had good friends, but now most of them are outside India. Very few are left here. And then because in Nizam College I again, made very good friends, and I have very fond memories of Nizam College actually, yeah. And then we used to have most of the politicians, children studying in Nizam College, and most of them have become the chief ministers, the speakers, the MLAs, the union ministers, the cabinet ministers here. So that has kind of given me a very good exposure, I would say. And then Nizam College has got different gates. The gate number 1 is right opposite to that Alia school. Gate number 2 is here, the opposite to the stadium, the Blue Diamond restaurant. We always used to take the gate number 2 actually, because gate number 1 means we had to cross the principal room and then go. So we always used to avoid that actually. So the gate number 2, we always, and that gate number 2, straight used to go and hit the beautiful banyan kind of a trees there actually. And right in front of there used to be a canteen. We used to go and sit there, and we, I didn't have a bike actually, because my dad was against buying a bike for me actually. But
The canteen is still there?
Canteen, yes. So, and the canteen used to be there, and then that is where we became a little naughty, and then we started teasing, the lecturers, and sometimes, it was a co-ed college, and for me it was the first time co-ed experience actually. But there were friends who had come from the co-ed background actually, but then we had very good friends there, and then it used to be a jolly good time actually, I would say. So we used to spend more time sitting under the tree rather than the classes. And we made, good friends with our lecturers also. They were also very friendly. And especially, I still remember one of our lecturers, Mr. Sudarshan, he was the one who used to teach us statistics at that time. So I mean, and he was also very naughty actually, and he used to see us from the far, and then he used to say, "Okay, carry on, guys," like that. So he never used to kind of force us. But our principal, Pattabhi Rahman, sir, he was very strict, and we used to shit in our pants actually, to tell you very honestly. I mean, that kind of. So the moment he used to come on the rounds, we used to run to our classes and all. But we had a great time in Nizam College, and now they call it the Eve teasing and all these things. But those days we used to have a lot of fun actually. I mean, sitting and teasing sometimes the girls. But canteen used to be one of our major attractions there actually, and then we. Now they call it ragging and all, but there we used to boss around our juniors there actually, and they also used to be very obedient, I would say. Yeah.
I guess also it was very different. Maybe today, whether it's teasing or it's very different.
Different, absolutely. Absolutely. It is not like what it is today actually. Yeah. So it was very natural actually, very innocent, and we used to have fun actually. It was not with any ulterior motive actually, because the intent is very important, whatever you do. So that is how it is. Then after that, as I told you, then in the year 1993, because my parents, especially my mom, she was very particular that I get married, because that is when I used to have so many friends who used to be my girls and all. So I think my mom always had that kind of intuition, or maybe that, okay, this guy probably would bring somebody and introduce her as my daughter-in-law. So that's the reason. So she said, no, because you are going to get married and all this thing. Then, in fact, there were a couple of proposals which came in. But then she asked me, do you want to see the girl? I said, see, I believe in one thing. I believe in the destiny. Whoever I'm destined to get married to, I will, in fact. So that is how, this proposal came in. And then she said, this is the girl. I just saw her picture. I said, yeah, I mean, if you all like it, let's go ahead with that. So I think I still remember it was the month of March 1993. Yeah, they saw the girl, and immediately, my office was in Amirpet at that time actually, and I didn't know that my would-be father-in-law at that time and my co-brother, who is my co-brother now, they both came to my office. It was like a kind of what you call the investigation, inquiry, or something like that. I was sitting in my office. The receptionist called me, and she said, sir, someone has come and they want to meet you. Then I told her, okay. So somebody was sitting with me. I said, just please ask them to. She didn't tell me who they were and all. Then I asked. Then they sat. Then after 5 minutes, I received them, called them inside. They sat. And then the moment I saw him, I recognized, because I had seen him quite a lot of time on the TVs, in the newspaper, media, and all these things. He was none other than the father of Mr. Muhammad Azharuddin. Yeah. Then I knew for what purpose they had come to me. So I mean, they also didn't ask me any, questions and all. They just simply came, had a cup of tea with me and all. And then they just inquired a bit about the business. And then we ended up, talking cricket, politics. Politics from my side, the cricket from his side. I mean, that is how. Then he left after about half an hour, 40 minutes, along with my co-brother. And then the evening, I think my mom received a call that, okay, it is confirmed. So that is how. Then, I got married in 17th June 1993. Yeah, this is how. And I've been really lucky, because I've got a wonderful, very understanding life partner, my wife. And 1995, in fact, because I had my first child. His name was Ajmal, but unfortunately what happened is in the year 2011, when he was 16 years old, and there was a road accident. You must have heard about ORR. My son, Ajmal, along with my brother-in-law, Mr. Muhammad Azharuddin's son, they had a road accident 11th of September. So my son, in fact, died on the spot. Then it was a twin tragedy in our family, because I lost my son, Mr. Azharuddin lost his son. And then after that, both the families, my family and my wife's family, and all our friends, all our close extended family members, we were all shaken up. We were all like traumatized, I would say, because we never expected that kind of a tragedy. But somehow it was, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will. We had to surrender ourselves before the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we didn't know, because the people from all over the country, all over the world started coming in, meeting me. I used to sit on the same sofa, and I cannot tell you actually the kind of love people have showered upon me during those times. They have given me a lot of courage, they have given me a lot of strength, and I'm really, indebted to that, and I'm sure I'll never be able to repay that. But one fine morning I thought, because how long? I mean, it's already 3 months that I lost my son and I lost my nephew, that's Mr. Azharuddin's son. Then I thought, no, I think it's the time that I should get out now again, get into the normal this thing. But at the same time, because there was a serious thought which was running behind my, mind, that I should do something so that the other parents should not go through this trauma, and this pain, what we are going through actually. That is when we decided that we should start a road safety campaign, wherein we can create an awareness among the youngsters with regard to the speed, overspeeding, the reckless driving, and we should educate them. So that is when the thought came in, and within 3 months, that was I think in the month of November or December, I thought, let us start this organization called Youth Against Speed. So we started that organization, and today it's become a global campaign. Even the United Nations has endorsed this campaign. They passed a resolution on road safety actually. So we are part of so many campaigns. We work very closely with the traffic police, and we had this campaign in different parts of India. We had this campaign at India Gate in New Delhi. We had this campaign in Saudi Arabia, and we had this campaign in US through our associates, and we had this campaign in Australia too, in fact, and we are working very closely with some of the Australian companies, especially on the road safety. And you see the ORR, that is the outer ring road here. That is where actually the accident took place. So you see the new lighting system, then the speed guns. I mean, there's so many things actually, because we are working very closely with the Cyberabad police, the Hyderabad police, and when Mr. C.V. Anand, who is presently the Commissioner of Police of Hyderabad, he was the Commissioner of Police of Cyberabad, and he was the one, in fact, who was present in the hospital, Apollo Hospital, at the time of this accident when the bodies were brought to the Apollo Hospital. So this cause is also very close to his heart actually. So that is how, and we have been receiving the overwhelming response. So I want to actually elaborate on this, because this is something which is really very close to my heart. And my son, in fact, at that time was quite close to Shah Rukh Khan, in fact, because Shah Rukh Khan had personally called me. Yeah, and apart from that, not only Shah Rukh Khan, but there was so many, the personalities from the film industry, from the political, right from Sonia Gandhi ji to Rahul Gandhi, because I was in Congress at that point of time actually. So many people, and because of Mr. Azharuddin's connection also, so many people called, and that in fact has changed me as a person also actually, because I have seen the world from such a close quarter. Then I thought that, okay, I mean, this thing will go on, but we have to do something for the society. We have to do something for the youngsters. And then we started, under the Youth Against Speed, we started different kind of initiatives, different verticals like. And then what happened is, over a period of time, we even included, the drunken driving also into our campaign, because there were so many deaths happening because of the drunken driving. So now under Youth Against Speed, we work mainly on creating the awareness against the deadly consequences of speed, reckless driving and drunken driving. I mean, these three are the major things. Then apart from that, we also go to the different colleges, different schools. We talk to the students, then we give the pledge to them. And it does have an impact, actually, I would say. It has created a huge impact on the young minds of the students, actually, and the youngsters. And then we also, bring in the motivational speakers, and we help in the career guidance of the students. Because I remember, because when I was in 10th standard, at that point of time, we were clueless, actually, because we just went with the flow, because since everyone was doing. Then after that, you see, again, people, the students, the youngsters, went with the flow, intermediate engineering, like that, actually. So that's the reason you see thousands and thousands and thousands of engineers coming this thing. So what we need is actually, we need the reform in our education system also. We need not just only the doctors, we need not just only the engineers, we need lawyers, we need educationists, we need good lecturers, we need scientists, we need social workers, we need definitely the engineers and the doctors. But if everyone, goes on to become the engineers, then we'll have vacuum in the other fields too. So, and moreover, what happens is, because what I personally feel, every family should have one doctor, one engineer, one bureaucrat, one lawyer. And we should not have any discrimination between a boy and a girl. Because I've got a daughter, my second son is now doing his final year of architecture. Yeah. And my daughter, who is now doing the 10th, she wants to do law. She's very clear, actually. And I put her in the co-ed school. For the reason is because today we need to give them the exposure with the right values, actually. So that is the reason, because everyone was at that point of time telling me, why don't you put her in only the girls' school? Then I said no. Because let her go to a co-ed school so that she will grow in an environment wherein she will be very comfortable in future to deal with the practical life, actually. So that is how it is. And she's a very confident girl. So she's just about 15 now, but I mean, if you look at her confident level, you'll find her more confident than me, actually. I mean, yeah. So that is how it is. And I think just before we started our talk, you were talking about the film industry, actually. I did, in fact, receive a couple of offers.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to repeat that. I don't know if anyone has told you, look like Rajesh Khanna.
No, people.
Maybe I'm wondering if you got offers.
I mean, that's different. Some people say I look like Dharminder. Some people say I look like Rajesh Khanna. No?
In short, you're a good-looking guy.
Thank you. That's a compliment, actually. Yeah, I did receive, few modeling assignments during my this thing. But anyway, because since I was not too inclined, so that is the reason. But I remember, I think, it's about 6-7 years back when I was the national coordinator of AICC. I used to sit in AICC office in New Delhi, Akbar Road, 24 Akbar Road. So a filmmaker, actually, he had come there to make a documentary. Then, I was trying to kind of guide him, actually. Then he said, no, because I want to make a movie, actually. So I was actually looking for somebody as a hero of the movie, whom I want to show him as the chief minister there. So why don't you? Then I told him that's not my cup of tea, because acting, I don't know, because anyway. Then he said, no, politicians are great actors, sir. Then I said, maybe, but just don't go only by the looks. But yeah, I mean, probably had I tried my luck, probably I think I could have probably got the opportunity. I also could have been successful, but I never, had the inclination towards that. But that anyway, because I'm pretty happy, and now, in fact, after having served Congress for well over actively for well over 13, 14 years. Then I joined TRS party in 2018, that is right in the middle of the elections. And I was received by, our IT minister, who is now the working president of TRS party, Mr. K.T. Ramarao, along with the then Deputy CM, Mr. Mahmood Ali Sahab, and our CM Saab's daughter, who was then the Nizamabad MP, Kavita ji. They all received me at the party office. I was given the overwhelming response by TRS party, and immediately after that, I was in fact asked to look after. Then immediately after I joined the party, I participated in the political campaign along with Mr. K.T. Ramarao, visited several constituencies and all, and then immediately within 6 months we had the Lok Sabha elections. Then I was given the responsibility to manage the election campaign of Chevalla parliamentary constituency. Our candidate was Mr. Ranjit Reddy, and in fact it was quite a tough election because the sitting MP was none other than Mr. Vishweshwar Reddy. But somehow, by God's grace, we were able to have a good breakthrough there, and then as the first assignment, official assignment from the TRS party, I was very satisfied because we were able to win that seat actually. But before that, because while I was in Congress, I was in charge of UP, and I had managed many elections. I used to manage the political rallies of Rahul Gandhi ji, and I have managed hundreds of his rallies actually, all the election rallies and all. So that way, politics is nothing new actually for me, and so is the business or any field. Today, by God's grace, and today, I'm spending most of my time actually sitting on the TV debates, be it CNN 18, News 18, Times Now, Republic, India Ahead News, Zee Salam, your News 18, and I'm really happy that the Munsif TV is here right in front of me today, and I wish all the best to the Munsif TV and to all their viewers, in fact. And it is in fact a great privilege and an honor for me, because let me tell you, I was also very close to Munsif TV at that point of time, because when the founder of Munsif TV, Mr. Khan Latif Khan, was there, he was very close to me. He used to like me a lot. Yeah, and his son-in-law was there, Haider Bhai. So I have in fact appeared and many times on Munsif TV in various kinds of debates and various kind of election analysis and all these things. But now, again, I'm so glad, so delighted, I would say, and especially more delighted to be having a talk and conversation with a very handsome looking hunk like Imran.
I'd like to now maybe ask you some questions where maybe hoping to get some bites that we can use on.
Yeah, I know. Because I know it's quite a long talk actually, which I'm sure you'll not be able to air this, because see, that's what is, what happens is when you sit with a politician, then they go on talking and yeah.
So slightly this more serious side, I'm used to this. However, with the present politics now, with the way things are, in Telangana, TRS trying to be a national level party and working towards it, seeming very serious. Where do you think this is going? Where do you think the whole BJP with the man who's representing it now, Mr. Bundy, do you think this is a wave? This is something that has to be taken seriously, or if so, how do you think it can be countered? Also with the Congress, you've been in it for a very long time. Do you think Congress has the ability to still prove itself here? What do you think?
See, now talking about the Telangana politics is totally different. And now the party which is in power here is the TRS party, which is the party which made Telangana possible with its long time struggle, 19 years, long time struggle. It has, it was started in 2001 the Telangana party. Then for 14 long years, our Honorable Chief Minister Shri K. Chandrasekhar Rao Sahab led the movement, and he, in fact, a man with a mission. He's a very dedicated and a committed man. And when he started the movement, he had only one thing, that by hook or crook, I have to get Telangana, because the people of Telangana have suffered a lot. And that is how he kept fighting. And let me tell you, people thought Telangana will never become a reality. And earlier also there were many such movements. But he's the man who believed in the cause of Telangana, who believed in himself, and he fought for the aspirations of the people of Telangana. And then he prevailed upon the then UPA government, and the UPA government was compelled to declare Telangana as a separate state, because when Sonia Gandhi ji came here, she herself has seen and witnessed the demand of Telangana by the people of Telangana. She has seen how the movement was going, and it was a completely non-violent movement. Let me tell you that. And now coming to the BJP, BJP has absolutely no ground here in Telangana, even though they won the 2 by-elections here, and they won around 44-45 seats in GHMC. But let me tell you, today, the kind of politics BJP is playing, it is only and only on one agenda, that is the agenda of hatred and dividing the people on the communal lines. They have no agenda of development wherever they go. And coming to Bandi Sanjay ji, in fact, he is the president of BJP party here, he is a sitting member of parliament, but the kind of language he uses, it is a third grade language, I would say. I'm sorry to use that word, but it is a third grade language. No civilized or no cultured person would use that language. And BJP has neglected Telangana every time. In the last 8 years, what has BJP given to Telangana? The rail coach factory, BJP has, there was a demand, there was an understanding, and BJP has gone back on that, and BJP has not given that. Then recently BJP announced 158 medical colleges throughout the country. Not even a single college came to Telangana. Navodaya schools, they have opened all over the country, but not even a single Navodaya school came to Telangana. ITIR project, which was already announced and approved, that was shelved by the BJP government. And then last year, if you remember, we had floods. BJP did not give a single paisa to Telangana in the flood relief, whereas they have given 1,000 crores to Gujarat. This is nothing but the stepmotherly attitude towards Telangana by BJP. And when the BJP leaders come to Telangana, what is that they talk? They want to change the name of Hyderabad. They want to make Hyderabad as Bhagyanagar. Other than this, what agenda they have got? They don't talk about creation of employment, though they have promised 2 crores jobs in their manifesto. But what is that they have delivered? They don't talk about the progress because they don't believe in that. They believe only in one thing, that is polarize, create a divide, and then win the elections. With that, where are they taking the country to? In this last 8 years, if you look at the performance indicators, Telangana, I am not saying this is the report of the government of India. Telangana is contributing to the central government, our union government treasury, about 5% of the GDP, whereas the population of Telangana is only 2.5% if you take off the entire population of the country, whereas our contribution to the central government is 5%. And even that money, their share, because every state has got a share in the central funds, even the central government is not releasing that. And then they, with what face they come to Telangana, ask for the vote from the people of Telangana. So the people of Telangana, they are not fools. They very well understand what BJP is, what BJP's agenda is. And in this last 8 years, we have taken Telangana to one of the most favorable investment destinations in the country. Look at the Telangana model today. The entire country wants to emulate the Telangana model. And we are not just only competing with the other states. Today, Hyderabad and Telangana is competing with the global cities. We have the Apple facility here. We have the Amazon's biggest facility in Hyderabad. We have Microsoft. And our IT minister was in Davos attending the WEF World Economics Forum Summit. He just finished that yesterday. He wrapped up about 45 meetings, and he's coming back with almost about 42,000 crores of investment to Telangana. And if you go and attend this meeting and then say that we would demolish this mosque, we'll construct this temple. If you go with this agenda, do you think that you will get the investment? You will get any investor to Telangana? So, I mean, Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister came to Hyderabad day before yesterday. He addressed his party cadre here, and he was talking about the dynasty politics, and then he said about the superstition. What is dynasty politics? I want to ask you one thing. If a son of a CM, if a son of a minister, a son of a politician, if he's getting democratically elected by the people based on his performance, based on the merit, based on the development work what he has done in his constituency, then that is not dynasty. Because it is a different thing. He happens to be a son of a minister or a chief minister or an MP or an MLA or a politician. A son of a doctor, he becomes definitely because his father would like him to become a doctor. A son of a lawyer would like his son to be a lawyer, because the understanding of a son of a lawyer about the law will be much better than a common man.
Somebody is not from the background.
Somebody is not from the background. Likewise, a son of a doctor, even if he is not a doctor, but his understanding about the profession will be far better than somebody who is not into that field actually. So likewise, for example, I am giving you my own example because I have grown in a socio-political atmosphere at home. So my understanding of the politics was far superior where compared to a lot of my friends who didn't come from the political background. And apart from that, this is a democracy. Everyone has got a right. It's the constitutional right. If you are saying that it is a dynasty politics, you are talking something which is unconstitutional, I would say. Because everyone has got a right. If you are a son of a politician, then Constitution doesn't say that you cannot fight an election, you cannot enter into politics, because you have a right to choose your profession, you have a right to choose your character, you have a right to education, you have a right to, so when the Constitution has given us that right, then why? Okay, if there are useless fellows, if you are trying to, bring them through the back door, trying to, make them sit on the seats, and they are totally non-performing, like most of the senior politicians of the other parties doing. Okay, if you call them as the dynast, this thing, because they are more a liability than an asset to the state or to the country, I can understand. But coming to Telangana, where we have a democratically elected government, people have given the overwhelming mandate to the party, and then you are alleging this, and then you are talking about the superstition. What kind of superstition? Because I am unable to understand that, because when that way, if you say, because I find more superstition, with the BJP government. So, but it is all like, for Bhashanbazi, it all looks good. But one has to be practical these days, because today we are living in a different age. We are living in a digital age. What you say now, within 15 seconds it's out. And people are there to judge. I don't want to judge anybody, but the people are there to judge. They are the people who are going to elect. So BJP absolutely has got no ground here. Now coming to Congress. Congress, in fact, is the grand old party of India. Congress ruled India for well over 50 years. And Congress always claimed to be the party which championed the cause of minorities, the secularism. But unfortunately, Congress has been losing the elections one after the other, and people of country are rejecting Congress one after the other elections. And Congress, in fact, is going through the leadership crisis. And they have ruled the country for 50 years, as I told you. Sonia ji, when she came into power, the UPA, as the UPA chairman, she constituted the Sachar committee just because she wanted to know the socio-economic condition of the Muslims in the country. Then the Rajendra Sachar committee gave a report showing where the Muslims stood in India after 50 years of Congress rule. They were much below the Dalits. Who is responsible for this? For example, if you have ruled for 50 years, and if a particular community backwardness is going so down, it is becoming more and more and more backward on all fronts, then who is responsible? The party in power is responsible. So Sachar committee has shown a mirror to the Congress itself. Then after that, the Sachar committee, in fact, the report was given to Ranganathan Commission for implementation of the Sachar committee recommendations. But unfortunately, those recommendations have not been implemented. So that report just remained as a report which has shown, especially the Muslims, where they stand today in India actually, which is very unfortunate. And coming to Telangana, Congress has absolutely no chance here. And you go, it's not that because I'm in TRS today I'm saying this. One of the main reasons for me quitting Congress and joining TRS is because I have seen the work of this present government and I was highly impressed, because there are two things which is very important to empower any community, and especially the Muslims, because they are more backward socially, economically and educationally. Give them the education. And education is one such tool which can not only empower you, but it can empower your generations. That's what our Honorable Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao Sahab has done. He established the minority residential schools. And he's spending more than 1,10,000 on every student. So today we have more than 207 minority residential schools in Telangana, which are rolling out thousands and thousands of students every year. So this is what I would say is a concrete work for the minorities. Don't look at them today. Look at them after 10 years, because when these students, they come out of their school, then when they become the lawyers, the scientists, the engineers, the doctors, then you don't need to give them anything after that, because they will be standing on their own feet, then they'll be able to take care of their own families. This is what it is. You have to make any community self-sufficient, and for which hand-holding is very important, and especially the education, I would say. So one thing which really impressed me and prompted me to join TRS was the policies of the government of TRS, especially with regard to the empowerment of, educational empowerment of the Muslim community.
Tell me about representation. Recently we had the Rajya Sabha seat nominations. Why do you think no Muslim names were nominated on that, if you think TRS is doing such a good job?
See, as far as the TRS party is concerned, the TRS party has given enough representation, in fact, to Muslims in the Legislative Council. Today, what has happened is now, because especially we have about 119 assembly seats here, out of which we have only one elected Muslim MLA from Bodhan, that is Amir Shakil Bhai. And there are other constituencies too, but unfortunately what happens is, because if the Muslims are given the tickets from there, now the BJP has, spoilt the atmosphere in such a way that it has really become difficult for any Muslim to get elected in general election, be it assembly or be it parliament. But in spite of that, Mr. Amir Shakil, won from Bodhan, which is really remarkable. And our Chief Minister, especially K. Chandrasekhar Rao Sahab, he in fact has a very open mind for Muslims, and he has given them the good representation not only in the Legislative Council but in the other corporations also. So first time during his tenure, he made Muslims the chairman of the Khadi and Village Board and such other non-minority institutions. And he made the first deputy chief minister of the state a Muslim. And then in his second term, he made the home minister, he gave the portfolio of the home minister to a Muslim representative of the community, which I think is something really needs to be appreciated, I would say. Now coming to Rajya Sabha, in fact, because this is not that, we are going to, have many more openings in the near future. So definitely I'm sure, because I'm quite hopeful, I'm quite optimistic. And what is more important today is we have to look at the overall scenario. It is not just only confined that, okay, who has given what to whom. It is not that. We have to work for the overall development of the state, and minorities are the part of the government. They are the stakeholders actually. We are not at the mercy of any government or anybody. That is what our CM Sahab always says, that the Muslims and the minorities, I treat them as my brothers, my sisters, as my partners in progress. So that is what it is. So I'm very hopeful, I'm very confident actually. Yeah. See, unfortunately what happens is, because the opposition, even if they are criticizing, the criticism has to be constructive, I would say. Yeah. And now I think I have always believed in being in the mainstream of the society rather than, the moment. One more thing I would like to tell you actually, because it could be a bit controversial, but I tell you, because I have seen that actually. The moment, I call myself as a minority, some kind of inferiority complex you are developing in that
Use the word minority.
minority. So that is why should we use the minority? I mean, we are not lacking in anything. Okay, education, all this thing, but by God's grace, it is not that we don't have the capabilities. We are capable enough. We need the government support. Like the government is supporting scheduled castes, the government is supporting the backward classes. Likewise, definitely yes. Minority. The moment you say minority, people think it is a community. Actually, it is not. Minority is someone who actually, I would say it is. Let us call ourselves a minority when it comes to the population. In terms of population, yeah, like, but it's a fact that Muslims are backward. It is not that. But now, what can be done is, in order to bring to the mainstream the kind of schemes what we need today. Number one, as I told you, education. Education. This is very important. Then we have to ensure that our youngsters, get more jobs, for which the government of Telangana has announced, you are aware, more than a lakh of jobs now. So it's a very good opportunity, in fact, to get into different departments. And then the government of Telangana, in fact, has also started the overseas scholarships scheme, which actually is not, it's a grant actually to a student, which is about 20 lakh. It is not that the student have to return that money. So it is just a student gets an admission, he is given the 20 lakh rupees plus one-way ticket. And likewise, through Minority Finance Corporation, we have, the different kind of schools for the economically backward Muslims, to empower them economically, to give them, to provide them the employment opportunity, and to empower them with employment. And then, especially for, the poor Muslims, those who have got the daughters, we have the Shadi Mubarak scheme, where the government is giving, them the gift, I would say, from the government for every daughter who is getting married, which is more than a lakh of rupees. So likewise, there are so many good schemes of the government of Telangana. And our CM wants to do many more things for especially the Muslims, for the minorities. So this is what I personally feel that we need, because I have visited UP, I've traveled UP extensively, I've traveled Bihar, I've traveled Madhya Pradesh, I've been to Rajasthan, I've seen. But when we come back to Telangana today, we always come back to Telangana with a sense of pride actually. Because number one, we have the communal harmony, the peace. Peace is very important. Communal harmony is very important. And law and order is very important. These three things are very important for any kind of development, any kind of progress. So these three are very major indicators, I would say. That is the reason we are able to attract all these major foreign investors to Hyderabad. And then the political stability, which is there. Because today you see, TRS is become popular because of its work. Because we'll be completing 10 years now, next year. And again, we'll be facing the election, and we are confident that we'll win more than 100 seats. So like BJP and all these things, see, we are living in a democracy. Every political party has got a right to come and campaign for their party. But unfortunately, BJP, when it comes, they talk only one thing, which I told earlier also. Again, I am repeating it. It is nothing but they come and they spill the venom, the hatred. India is a secular country. We all coexist, be it Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai. And we are all the integral part of India. We are so interconnected and interlinked socially, culturally. It is impossible to de-link, I would say. And whoever tries to do that, they will fail. And BJP today, do you think, even though BJP formed the government second time, but first time BJP got only 31% votes. 69% of India still voted against BJP. So this gives a greater message. That is what our Honorable CM is now trying to do. Bring all these like-minded people, the opposition party, Sans Congress, to come on a single platform. So the 69% votes which are getting divided, when they come together, where is 69%, where is 39%? In the second, from 31%, it went to 37% in the 2019 elections to BJP. But still, 63% and 37%. I mean, there's a huge, huge gap, double almost. So when this 63% come on a single platform, they can beat BJP any day. And forget about Telangana nationally.
So is TRS wanting to beat the national player?
Definitely, TRS definitely wants to play a very key role at the national politics. And our CM, in fact, his dynamism in Telangana has become a role model, and people of the country definitely want to have, the Telangana model at the national level too. And our Honorable CM has gone and visited Delhi's schools also recently, along with Mr. Kejriwal. That is how a politician should be. He should always have an open mind, because every state is doing something good. So we must always go and see what is good there, rather than, only criticizing. And even if you are doing a good work, you say, no. I mean, like, that's what BJP's, policies, mentalities. Because I think they are wearing a colored eyes through which they colored glasses through which they can't see anything other than hatred. So it is, the people of country will teach them a lesson now, actually. So that's the reason, because the governments don't last. Governments come and go. But what is important, our country has a grand history. Our country has the rich heritage, the culture, which has to be preserved. And but unfortunately, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to destroy that. The secular fabric of the country. We have unity in diversity. Every 100 kilometers, the language changes, the dialect changes, the cuisine changes, the culture changes. But that spirit of Indianness remains the same, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. That's what our India is, actually. So one should not forget that you can never change the idea and the spirit of India.
Which you believe TRS embodies? These things.
TRS, definitely, yes.
Works with everyone.
Yeah.
So, finally, I'd like to know, what is this whole thing with Shah Rukh Khan? I mean, you seem to be, of course, there's cricket is part of your family.
Yeah.
With Mr. Azharuddin.
Yeah.
There's also, you seem to be close friends or hobnob with Mr. Shah Rukh Khan.
No, I'm not a close friend now, but I know him. I mean, we keep, bumping into each other at some parties and all these things. He's a very nice gentleman and all. And now I don't have to say anything, because the facts have come before you. And yesterday the media was full with the facts, actually, because his case was totally mishandled. There were no, there was no evidence found. Yeah, so based on that, on the lack of evidence. He was given a clean sheet, and which I feel, in fact, that I think it was little too much in haste. Everything was done without, following the proper procedure.
Maybe he was being targeted.
I won't say that, because I don't want to use the word target or something like that, because that is what most of the people say. But I won't say the targeted or something like that. But maybe there was some motive behind this. But now I think since he got the clean sheet, now it's all over. So let's not.
So he's a social friend.
Yeah.
He's a social person.
Yeah. He's a wonderful human being. In fact, yeah. I mean, as far as Shah Rukh Khan is concerned, Salman Khan is concerned, Amir Khan is concerned, Ranbir Kapoor. There are so many heroes actually today. They are all the, idols for most of the youth here actually. Most of the youth of the country idolize them. So, and they do a lot of, charity and all these things actually. So they are, yeah. And I think there is also a responsibility on all these people actually, because today, see, what happens is, since a lot of youngsters watch them, so all these movies also should have a social message actually. Entertainment is fine, but when the entertainment, there has to be some kind of, which I think Salman Khan has, that thing in him actually. Yeah.
Recent past experience.
Yeah.
Mr. Khaleeq Rahman, it has been a pleasure talking to you.
Nice, same here actually, and thank you once again. For inviting me to be a guest on Munsif TV, and I'm sure whatever I've said, I'm sure, your viewers would like it, and if I have hurt somebody through my talk, then I apologize for that too.
I don't think so. It was great having a conversation with you. So I think post-COVID, this is how.
Yeah. I know that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you so
really.
much.
Thank you.